All right, all things Daymond John, third bestseller, right?
Well, it's not a bestseller
Well,
yet.
it's going to be.
Hopefully. Of course.
Powershift, and you know what, I've gone through this. It's nice to have you here as always.
Thank you as always.
And you make some really good points, because the thing I think people fail to do is to do their homework.
Yeah.
They don't think about the other person they're trying to deal with.
They don't think about the target they're
right,
aiming
exactly.
after. Absolutely.
And so what's your thoughts about that?
So my thought about it, Powershift, is really, you know, I got to a point in my life where so many people asked me how to change their lives, and it had nothing to do with having money or not having money. Anything. It was how they were living their lives, negotiating, and how they were putting a reputation out there, how they were negotiating, because they all thought it was very transactional, and then they weren't nurturing relationships way after that. And I wanted to give people all these tools on how to just make small adjustments in your life. After seeing thousands of pictures on Shark Tank, and probably 10,000 in my private sector life, I've seen what people do wrong, I've seen what they do right. And that's exactly why I wrote the book, so people can understand how to take back power, or don't think that somebody else, you know, has to give them the power.
A question we've asked several of your colleagues before.
Yeah.
Is it the horse or is it the jockey?
It is the jockey.
That's what I
It is always the jockey. The #1 selling product in Shark Tank history, was invested by me, of course, is Bombas socks. It's socks, right?
Yeah.
You know, so we all been wearing socks for whatever, right? It's really the guys and how they negotiate. And I didn't want to buy a clothing brand on the show, because I already had 10 clothing brands, and 8 of them are dead. But guess what? They were able to power shift and make me understand why the value was in socks.
Is it their passion? Or
It was their passion. They were doing their homework first.
Right.
It was the reputation they had after the due diligence started. You know, your reputation is like driving through the city, and your reputation is the skyline. We can see it from all over. And it has to be very accurate with who you really are, because you can't be, you know, acting this way and then we see all this other stuff. So due diligence and negotiation doesn't start when I just meet you. It starts way before I ever heard your name.
And on negotiation, how do you get the information to know what the other side wants?
You ask them. Often people don't ask. They don't know their why. They also don't say, listen, if I'm having a challenge with you, I never say, you know, people don't usually say, what's making this a challenge for you? How can I help you? What are the things that need to be in place to make this more attractive for you? Even if this negotiation doesn't work, we're going to do another deal in the future, because I remember the way you communicated with me.
Okay.
All right, we're going to show you Frank's failed idea, and then he has a new, and I apologize for an advance pitch.
Why apologize?
Okay, so this was the passenger strap.
Okay, this is my pitch for the passenger strap. Look, you're on an airplane, you get sleepy, and if you're sleep, I know you sleep first class all the time, but those of us who coach, this is a way to help you rest and not get the thing in your neck.
I need that at the buffet.
Okay, so
After that prime rib, baby, I'm down.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you're
I'll root
wrong,
you on
but you're the
Okay.
shark, not me. My second idea. Do we have
here we
the
go.
graphic for this? Our dog.
Actually, his wife's idea.
So right, so our dog is blind, is having trouble seeing. What about glasses for dogs? Something that allows the dog to see better.
I actually do think that there's something there.
And you know what? Nowadays, nowadays, you know how we go this one or this one, this one?
Yeah.
They don't do that. They can measure your eyes.
I do actually think there is something there, believe it or not. I'm going to patent that as soon as I leave here.
And when you see bikers, they have glasses for
Yeah,
their
I mean,
dog.
it would be more like a goggle for a
Goggle,
dog.
yeah.
Right,
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
How, I don't know if it's a dating analogy. We're such fans of the show.
Yeah.
But do you know 5 seconds in, it takes a long time to know when a pitch begins?
It usually takes a little bit of time to know, because I'm starting to resonate with the person there, and then you start to say, do I want to work with this person forever? Because if I don't want to do it, then I'll just send my money over to Tesla or Apple. I don't need to talk to those guys, and they don't want to talk to me either. So it always is the person. So that's why the book was written. Whether you want to get the remote control away from your significant other, or you want to get an advance at your job, or you want to get a deal, I have a lot of different subjects in here and people in here, like Pitbull, Lindsey Vaughn, somebody named Charlinda, who won something called Bob Evans' Heroes to CEOs thing. So a lot of people you can learn from, and how to
Just
be
so
on the
you know,
jockey.
you won't have to work with me. You'll be working with my wife.
It was much easier to get along.
than me.
Probably much smarter than you too.
And then,
Absolutely.
how are the boneless ribs doing?
Boneless Ribs is doing great. Still out there cranking and moving, and you know everything's going well with Shark Tank. And we're moving back to Friday nights, 8 p.m. So we are, and because our fans negotiated with ABC, and you know how hard it is to move a network show, right? But our fans had built up this kind of influence, and then they negotiated, and they support us.
There we go. We should tell you this, of course, Daymond on Shark Tank Fridays at 8, as he mentioned. Powershift drops on Tuesday, March the 10th. Everywhere books are sold. I was going to fist bump with you. We traditionally shake hands, or we
Yes,
can.
we hug actually.
We did that too.
You guys have been supporting us for so many years.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Daymond. Great.